Illinois, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Pennsylvania now join 5 other states linked to contaminated lettuce that has sickened thousands. The expansion comes days after federal health officials said the outbreak is under control.
Still in the kitchen with the pots and the pans, chopping up, cooking up, measuring grams. Fried, bake it, roll it, grill it, sizzle on the skillet. This is culinary, y'all. Coaching for your entertainment. DBCHEFTV.
Welcome everyone back to the DBCHEFTV podcast, where the world talks food. I'm Chef Erol Pearl at DBCHEFTV, and today, y'all, we have a really crappy story that's been running people to the bathroom for quite some time over the past 2 weeks. But we're gonna take a deep dive into it tonight. And before we do that, y'all, please make sure to smash that like button and also share this content, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. So when I go live, you never miss an episode of the DB Chef TV podcast. Also, head on over to www.bksoulfarm.com and pick up your copy of 1016-160 Self-Sustainability by Ali Dawood El. The link is in the description. Also, y'all, we got Same Great Ribs, Next Level Flavor, Ribs on the Run 2.0, bold flavor made to go. Real ribs, real flavor, real good at 984-331-6946. Available for parties, catering, events, and more. That's Ribs on the Run 2.0. You can scan the QR code. And then don't forget also DB Chef TV, y'all. You can subscribe and win $100. We're giving away $100 each and every third Sunday of the month, live on our show, Cigar Sundays, right here on DB Chef TV Network. And all you got to do is subscribe. To do that, put your name in the hat, because we want to show love to y'all for supporting our content, and that's how we doing it. So subscribe, and hopefully you are a lucky winner. And let's go ahead and check out what's on the menu. So today, y'all, we got Cyclosporiasis. It isn't Francis the ladybug. It isn't Herbie the love bug. It's the doodoo bug. And we're going to investigate it and find out how we can navigate and stay safe and don't catch the doodoo bug. Okay. And then we're going to get into some food prep safety tips, so we can stay safe along the way. You know, we can if something like this occurs again, then we'll be even more safe from it because of our practices. We can be preventative. That's the goal. So first thing we're going to do is hit the cutting board and get to our appetizer. So this is a 3-course meal, y'all. We got an appetizer. The content is the entree, and then we're going to get to dessert. Dessert is the recap. So this is our appetizer right here. And we got 3 questions. Our first question: what is cyclosporiasis? We need to ask that question so we can identify what it is, so we can find out what's going on. Then 2, how does cyclosporiasis affect our body? That's the big thing. You know, that's one of the other big things. If you do get a case of the runs, the boo-boos, then you want to know what's going on with you, right? You want to know, like, man, why I gotta keep running to the toilet? Why do I feel nausea? Why do I feel all of these things that we're going to get into that could possibly be affecting you? All right. And then 3rd, what food safety practices do we take to avoid catching cyclosporiasis? Because we want to be preventative. You know, big thing is we don't want it to happen if it don't need to happen, right? It's kind of like that mindset of, why give a reason if you don't need to give a reason for it, you know, because you're already doing the right thing. Yeah, so it's the same thing when it comes to food. And we got some news clips that we're going to go and check out that's going to help us with that. So let's go ahead and jump in to that.
Federal health officials said the outbreak is under control.
And we've identified the source of the outbreak.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tried to calm concerns of the Cyclospora outbreak.
Is anyone else like deathly afraid to eat lettuce right now?
But some Americans aren't convinced. Social media users calling it Lettucegate.
Lettucegate is crazy. Lettucegate is super crazy, y'all. That is Lettucegate. But it's cool though. I think we're gonna use that. I think we're gonna tag this as Lettucegate. Matter of fact, if you see this and you share the video, tag it as Lettucegate. That's pretty cool.
Health officials announced the Cyclospora outbreak linked to iceberg lettuce served at Taco Bell locations has now spread to 4 new states. Nearly 2,000 people have gotten sick. Health officials believe the affected iceberg lettuce came from a Taylor Farms facility in central Mexico. The supplier says it has suspended production of all its products in that region. The Mexican government rules out any contamination, claiming its test found no evidence of the parasite at Taylor Farms.
I don't think we can say that this is under control yet.
Health officials suspect multiple outbreaks across 41 states with more than 11,000 reported and confirmed cases. There's no sign of slowing, as symptoms can take up to 2 weeks to start.
Even if this lettuce was implicated, it doesn't mean that other produce is not implicated as well.
Data suggests Taco Bell saw about a 30% drop in foot traffic after health officials identified the chain as part of this outbreak. Sharika, Taco Bell says it has removed affected lettuce from its restaurants.
As it should. Taco Bell should have been removed that lettuce. And one of the things that they made a point to, I want to point out real quick, was just that when they said that it's under control, that means that they have identified the source. You know, even though we keep hearing they haven't identified the source, it means at least initially, because you would not be able to identify what brands, where it came from. But that's what we're dealing with, y'all. It's spreading to, it's spreading through numerous states right now. And more people are becoming infected. More people are having to run to the toilet. And I think that understanding it a lot more is what we can use as a tool that we'll be able to use, so that way people don't get affected as much. But I also think that there is, because it's non-life threatening, I think that there is this, there's an air where, when things aren't life threatening, like when we had the pandemic, a lot of people lost loved ones. So people's social distancing, people washing their hands, people's hygiene things, they were really active because it seemed like death was apparent, and it seems as with this, people are just being very nonchalant with it. And that's where it's continuing. That's why we're continuing to see it spread. Because if people act with the sense of emergency or the sense of urgency or prevention, as they did with the pandemic that we saw in 2020, I think that same energy, if it got applied to this, then it would curve that, what we see, how we see this spreading continually. So, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. And right now we're going to get into what is cyclosporiasis? How does it affect our body? And what food safety practices do we take to avoid catching it? And we got a really good video for this. So let's get to that.
Cyclosporiasis. It's caused by the parasite Cyclospora. And it's mainly known for causing gastrointestinal illness, which primarily is diarrhea. And the diarrhea may be explosive. It's a watery diarrhea.
Cha. I'm sorry, you gotta be from the era to know where it's coming from. Google it, y'all.
And it's often associated with nausea, bloating, and a lot of gas. It usually doesn't result in a lot of vomiting, which makes it different from many other gastrointestinal illnesses. So it's primarily transmitted by the fecal-oral route, which means that people who have cyclosporiasis, if they have inadequate hygiene and then handle food, then that food may become contaminated and people get it from touching the food that's contaminated.
Okay, so what he just said was, he just said you got dirty folks out here handling your food. That's what he said. So that means somebody go to the bathroom. Now, this is specifically something that comes from human fecal matter, means human boo-boo, human poop, okay? So what it would have to suggest, we would just have to assume that somebody going to do number 2, all right, and they wiping themselves and they ain't washing their hands and they coming back to handle folks' food, okay? Now, in this case, that would be in a produce processing facility where, you know, because it's bagged, lettuce was the source, right? And places like Taco Bell, you know, like I've never worked fast food, but I have worked in catering. I have worked in wholesale food distributing. I have worked in mass food production. I have over 22 years of history in food handling. All right. So I've seen how it comes in all various forms, as far as having bag products that's already supposed to be pre-washed or pre-cut, or you get bulk and you get, you know, a case of lettuce with all the heads, and, you know, you can get iceberg, romaine, kale, you know, you name it, dandelion, whatever you want, you know, endives, you know, you can get all these different types of lettuces, and you can get them pre-cut and pre-packaged, spinach, or you can get it loose, and that's still nasty, okay? Because a person is supposed to wash their hands before they handle your food, okay? So that's pretty disgusting that this is the source of how this is being transmitted. There's a lot of dirty folks out here, all right? That's why I don't be eating out like that, y'all. I'm gonna keep it a whole buck. I had a neighbor of mine, man, cook some great food, you know, and I mentioned a comment to them. I said, man, commented on the food. The food was amazing. And I even said, like, you know, I don't eat everybody's food. It's one, because I'm a picky eater, but then 2, you know, it's stuff like this. You don't know, you know, not saying they on that, because food was delicious. We ate it. It went down. It was perfect. All right. But these are the things that have me in this space where it's like, do I want to eat, you know, food from a restaurant, or food from this place, or food from that place, you know, because it's things like this where you just don't know. You don't know who's handling your food. All right.
It's not generally transmitted person to person. That's much more rare. So it's really via contaminated food. And the main foods that have been implicated are herbs such as basil and cilantro, salad greens, especially greens that have been bagged or processed, or humans have touched the salad greens. Raspberries. Raspberries are very difficult to wash. They have very small spaces that are hard for the water to get into. So that may be contaminated. Snow peas is another food that's been implicated in previous outbreaks.
Okay, y'all. So we got spinach, we got snow peas, we got raspberries, cilantro, and then they had iceberg lettuce. well, bag lettuces. Okay, so those are the things right now that you might want to steer clear of, because the people handling those at those packaging facilities, you know, they not washing their hands after they take a bathroom break. Apparently, clearly, you know.
So if you do have this explosive diarrhea that's not associated with vomiting, that's a clue that it might be cyclosporiasis, because many other causes of gastrointestinal illness will be associated with vomiting, including norovirus, and some of them also are associated with fever. For cyclospora, it usually doesn't cause fever. It can be diagnosed with a simple stool test. So we do a gastrointestinal panel, a PCR assay, and it's included on that panel. And then there is a treatment to shorten the illness. Giving an antibiotic, trimethoprim sulfa, can shorten the illness. It's very difficult to prevent because the foods that are implicated, we really need to wash them. And even if you wash them thoroughly, there may be some contamination still on them. So for example, for salad greens, it's best to have unprocessed salad greens. So like a whole head of lettuce is less likely to be contaminated versus bagged lettuce. For other
Y'all heard that? Don't buy the bag lettuce. Stop being lazy. Okay? Buy you a whole head of lettuce. Clean it. Wash it off. Rinse it off. Okay? Scrub it. Put your hands in it. You know, let me tell you something. I don't buy bag lettuce anyway. All right? I never have, even through my career. It was always cheaper to buy whole heads in bulk, actually, versus the pre-washed, pre-prepared, because because it costs more. They went through a process, so it's more expensive than just buying a head. But there is there's like a spiritual, I don't know, it's like a, you know, there's something that goes into it when you mixing it with your hands and you washing things. It's an energy that's put into the food. That's a transfer, you know, when you cleaning stuff. And I don't know, to me, maybe it's psychological, but when I clean things with my hands and do stuff, you know, like this, it feels better. Even when I'm eating it, you know, like even when I prepare it and I wash it and I clean it, you know, if it just feels, I don't know, when it gets to the plate, I know I done seasoned it well and it tastes good or put it together right. You know, I'm a chef. You know, we always think we sharp like that, but I know I got people who say so. But I'm just saying, like, it just feels, you know, I don't know, it's an energy thing. It just feels good putting that energy into it, crafting it, designing it. You know, that's that culinary art that, you know, that I'm talking about. So, you know, that bag salad, it is quick. It's quick on the draw, you know, but it might make you have to go to the bathroom quick, at least right now with what we got going on. So try to buy unpackaged stuff, y'all.
produce, it's best to wash them completely. Using any chemicals isn't very useful. Cooking is very useful in terms of reducing the load, but of course, for some things, they're better eaten fresh.
And it's better eating fresh. Yeah, I love fresh stuff, fresh vegetables. Definitely. So we're gonna go ahead and get into now what food safety practices do we take to avoid catching cyclosporiasis? And to do that, y'all, we are going to head to the CDC, and I'm going to put all these links in the description, and we're going to see exactly what the CDC says about preventing cyclosporiasis. Okay. And This link will be in the actual in the description. So you'll be able to go to it and have this information accessible to you. And we're just gonna read through this real quick and check it out. And this right here was done on July 27. This is fresh, y'all. Today's the 28th of this broadcast. And it says key points. People can get sick eating food or drinking water that is contaminated with human poop containing the Cyclospora parasite. All right, so follow safe food handling practices to reduce your risk of illness, and then stay up to date on food safety alerts, and don't eat recall foods. There's also going to be a link for recall foods, y'all. Y'all didn't even know. Some people may not know about this, you know, and that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this, because during my time in the military, in my capacity, you had to know about recalls, okay? Because you can't go out there and you can't purchase certain food items that you have to serve to the troops. And, you know, you got bad stuff, all right? You can't deploy and then you're getting bad stuff and then you're getting people sick and they can't do their job, you know? So the CDC and the FDA, they list these things, and I'm going to share these links with you so that way you can be informed as well. All right. So we got prevention tips. We're just going to skip to that. Like I said, this link will be in the description so you can go and read it for yourself, because the more you know, the more you grow. All right. And the first thing is people should stay up to date on food safety alerts, not eat recall food, and follow food safety advice. That's what I got for y'all. Advice, y'all, to help reduce your risk, their risk of getting sick from this or any other foodborne illness. Okay. Wash your hands. That's the first thing. That was one of them big things that was going around with the pandemic. Wash your dirty, funky little hands. Okay. That's it. Now, in food service, this is the reason why this is wild, because in food service, and I noticed that in the military, it's way different, because, you know, we are sanitation first and the quality of food second. That's the military. The military don't care how good the food tastes. When your food tastes good, when you're in the military, then, you know, that's a jewel. But sanitation, you do what's called a galley inspection, and it's every single week, and it's from top to bottom, and it's sanitation. Okay, it's on storage of food, it's on cleanliness of everything, it's on dates, it's on expired things, it's on, you know, rotating your products and your inventory, and, you know, like, it is very, very meticulous, and you take pride in getting a high score, you know. So even daily, you know, you check your hands. That's something that you have an inspection each and every morning. You know, you come in, you check all of the cook's hands, you know, make sure your nails aren't too long, make sure they aren't dirty, your hands are clean, make sure your hair is in a hairnet. Make sure if you have a beard, it's covered, or, you know, they're, like I said, like, sanitation is important. We don't want people to get sick. I know in the civilian world, folks are a little bit more dirty. Okay. Don't take it as an insult. Clean your act up, and then they won't be talking about you. All right. But wash your hands, soap and water, before and after handling or preparing raw fruits and vegetables. Okay. Be an avid hand washer. Okay. Like a spiritual, like religious, like going to church on Sundays or to the mosque on Saturday or to mass, you know, like, wash your hands like that. That is the biggest, that is the first and foremost way to be preventative, y'all. I promise you. Okay. Preparing your fruits and vegetables. Wash all fruits, vegetables thoroughly under running water before eating, cutting, or cooking. All right. It is important to thoroughly wash produce, even if it is labeled as pre-washed. Okay. Scrub firm fruits and vegetables such as melons, cucumbers, with a clean produce brush. If you don't know what a produce brush is, y'all, I will put the link to a produce brush for Amazon in the description. Okay, so you can do that. What I use is I use them little green pads. Y'all know them little green pads? I buy green pads to clean, and I buy green pads to clean my vegetables. And what I do is I'm not abrasive with it. Okay. So I clean my vegetables and my firm fruits, squash, beets. I eat all that stuff, squash, beets, even my bella mushrooms. I get the big bella mushrooms and then just clean them off. All of that stuff, my avocados, even my avocados, I scrub and clean the outside, before I cut into it. Because when you cut into it, you will take what's on the outside into the fruit if you don't clean it. Okay. So cut away any damaged, bruised fruit areas and vegetables before preparing and eating. And as always, when you add in heat, it kills everything. Cooking can kill this particular parasite, the one we talking about, since washing alone cannot guarantee the parasite's removal. And what it says here is you can cook it to a temperature of 158 degrees. Okay. So if you don't have a thermometer, all right, then you can get you a meat thermometer. And that's what you can temp things with. Okay. And that's what'll help you determine if it's 158 degrees. You can use it for multiple things. You can put it in a pot of water to see when your water is boiling to 212. You can use it for multi-purpose things. It's great to temp a steak. Okay. It's great to temp your chicken breasts. So it's juicy. It's great to cook your steaks, your lamb, anything you got. Using a thermometer is, a great tool, great resource for anybody in the kitchen trying to make sure that, the germs are killed, but also your meal is delicious. Okay. Because that's my word, delicious. All right. And then last but never least, refrigerate, cut, peeled, or cook fruits and vegetables as soon as possible within 2 hours. Okay. So once you put things in the cooler, then what happens is it comes down below, I believe, that 40-degree temperature that prohibits it's not really stopping, but it slows down the growth of bacteria. Okay. So that's what you want to do. This link right here will be in the description for you. Also, we can go ahead and pull up. I just want to show you this too. This is recalls right here. We got the recalls, outbreaks, and emergencies. This is some information that you'll be able to have too. The U.S. Department of Agriculture regulates beef, poultry, processed eggs, products, and everything. All right. So for food safety and food recall information from both the FDA and the USDA, you can check out foodsafety.gov. Okay, foodsafety.gov. And this will keep you up. This will keep you up on game. They have a mobile app or widget. I'm not even hip to what a widget is. I need to learn what that is. But I know what the app is. I know what the website is. I know how to get there and find what needs to be found so we can be safe. I'm also going to put a link to Serve Safe Guide. Serve Safe is the national service. Well, let me have my server. It's like a server safety. What do you call it? A server safety guide. And what they do is their organization, and they just teach people how to handle food properly. Okay. They keep you up with temperatures for cooking, for serving. They definitely telling folks that they need to wash their hands when they come out the toilet. Okay. So those people who have caused this outbreak, all right, definitely aren't getting it doesn't seem like that they're serve safe certified, because last time I checked, you know, I may not be up to speed. Most servers, most people in restaurants have to have a serve safe certificate. Okay. And that's some level of training, whether it is online or they actually go somewhere and they get, you know, they get a hands-on. So yeah, y'all, you know, that is our deep dive into cyclosporiasis. And yeah, y'all, we gonna go ahead and jump to dessert right now. That was the entree, and our dessert is the recap. Okay, so we had, what is cyclosporiasis, a parasitic illness that targets the intestine after a person consumes food or water that has been contaminated with infected human poop. Okay, that's key to know, y'all. If you get this, you done ate somebody else. What? That is bad. Okay, that's how disgusting this thing is, that people not washing their hands. Okay, then how does it affect our body? How does cyclosporiasis affect our body? Watery diarrhea, loss of appetite, gas, weight loss, bloating, stomach cramps, nausea and fatigue. You know, those are the symptoms. What we realize is non-life threatening and is treatable with antibiotics. It's just psychologically, you like, dang, I done ate somebody. It was disgusting. All right. And then we say, what food safety practices can we do to avoid catching it? Good hygiene. That's the first thing right there. Good hygiene. All right. Washing your hands consistently. Okay. Washing your fruits and vegetables thoroughly. With bacon, there is something called a baking soda soak and a vinegar soak. Now, we didn't discuss this, but you can do this, okay? But you don't want to mix the two. You want to use baking soda, all right, and water, all right, first, and then you let whatever whatever your fruits and vegetables. What these helps is remove pesticides, okay, and any other type of thing that may be on the outside of your fruits and vegetables. Okay. And then you want to do another bowl of water with vinegar and water. Okay. So you want to go from the baking soda and water first. All right. Rinse it off and then put it in the vinegar and water and then rinse that off. And then you're ready to go ahead, chop it up and enjoy. Okay. You want to avoid contaminated foods and water. So a lot of times what we'll have is we will have for the counties where you live at or the city, sometimes they may say they have a boiled water alert. You know, be mindful of these things. Okay. Any type of foods that may be contaminating thing, we're going to put them links in there so you can be well aware of the recalls. And then alternatives, you can buy frozen fruits and vegetables. You know, you have that as an option right now. And then also cooking. Remember, cooking can kill the parasite at a temperature of at least 158. Cooking kills everything. Whenever you add fire to the fire is the end. Okay, it's killing it all. All right. So once you add some heat to it, just need to make sure that it gets to the right temp and, you know, you be safe. So you can saute all your vegetables. You can grill your veggies and, you know, it's different. It's a little different with the fruit, you know, but you got the frozen option too. Okay. And then last but never least, stay up to date on food safety alerts and recall food. And I think that that'll help everybody, you know, try to be a little successful and less sick, you know, because nobody likes to get sick. When you're sick, you can't go party. You can't go hang out. You can't go to work. You know, like you can't do none of the stuff you want to do. You just sick. And, you know, it's never a good feeling. Nobody likes feeling sick. So I hope everybody enjoyed this topic. And please make sure to smash that like button and also share this content, subscribe to the channel, and smash the notification bell so when I go live, You never miss an episode of the DBCHEFTV podcast where the world talks food. Y'all, I want everybody to have a peaceful, positive, and productive rest of your week. And don't forget, it's all shits and giggles till somebody giggles and shits. And that's all I got till next time. Peace.
BKSoulFarm.com, 1016, 160 self-sustainability. Jump on the list and get yourself together, right?
Cigar Sundays on YouTube. Subscribe. TLS Podcast. The Love Speak. Brunch with the fellas at Brunch Fellas. Bo's Podcast. Bo's on the Table. TVK Podcast. The Veteran Kettle. Sign up for the newsletter and shop merch and clothing at DBCHEFTV.com.